So incredibly foul. How long have I been lying there? All these signs of violence.
Hi, and welcome to my channel. My name is Katie DelMonte, and today's episode is all going to be based off the Michelle Carter vs. CommonWealth I Love You Now Die HBO special. Special thanks to GrlBossTown, because I wouldn't be doing this without them. You can follow their podcast and Instagram by checking out my bio below. It's a podcast based on all things pop culture, social media, past, present predictions, and it's amazing. My little sister runs it. They're out in Boston, Massachusetts, which this case was originally formed out of, and I'm out in California, so here we go. Before I forget, Cosmo, August issue. You know, it's Mariah Carey with wearing a shirt of herself on it. But GrlBossTown made it. We got Robyn DelMonte's article. This was a national, tragic, true-life tale involving two teens aged 17 and 18. Michelle Carter was convicted in 2017 of involuntary manslaughter for encouraging her boyfriend over text messages and calls to kill himself. This case broke national headlines. I'm going to go through all the factors that play into it. You can hold your opinion, and I'll let you know where I stand at the end. Let's go ahead and dive right into it. I haven't Googled the distance between Plainsville and Massachusetts yet, where Conrad Roy was from, both in Massachusetts, but I'm going to say it's 30 minutes away. So I don't know if you can call it a long-distance relationship, this day and age type of relationship, and personally I've been in one, you know. It is amazing to have a number or person that actually doesn't know you that physically get that emotional side of you. So I get where this kind of took off in. They had a very cynical, very evil, very dark side of life that they shared with each other, which really brought them together. But they had only seen each other 4 times total. Like one at 14, and this goes up until they're 18 years old. This relationship, mainly text, mainly virtual, mainly online. Obviously, this kid was seeking some help, was going through struggle and a hard time. Michelle, on the other hand, was an outcast. She really didn't have too many friends. She was on the borderline of being bisexual. She expressed this with Conrad before, which really breaks my heart, because it means that she was really confused on where her heart was and her mind, and I personally think her physical presence. I think she was all over the place. I think she was an immature person. She looked at life immaturely and really didn't see the consequences of anything. So Conrad was found and struck outside of Kmart. The police, I think either that week or immediately after, had gone to Michelle's school to get a search warrant for her phone. Blatantly gave up her rights and gave them the passcode. The one thing I must say about this case I've looked at differently recently is that if she had an Apple iPhone and refused to give them their passcode, no matter the search warrant, they would not legally be able to break that passcode. And I don't know if we'd know Michelle Carter's name today, because not even terrorists can get their passcode broken through Apple Inc. But looking at previous evidence, it looked like she had some type of Google LG smartphone. So they went to her school and they got her passcode and they broke into her phone. There were over thousands and thousands and thousands of texts. This is an online role relationship, basically a diary to yourself that somebody else is reading or listening to. Giving them your heart, not really getting too much out of it, but it's a good outsource, a good way to get your feelings, emotions out. I really think that's what these two were really connected with, because Conrad Roy had severe mental depression, social anxiety, and had been struggling with those issues for years now. This was his 4th time attempting suicide, and she had already tried to hang herself once. let's just talk about that for a second. So 2 kids are very depressed and almost using this type of mental illness as a connection because they both suffer from it. Conrad Roy had his life ahead of him. There's video footage of him expressing himself, telling, giving his inner feelings out to the world. I really personally think Conrad Roy III could have used rehab or a type of outsource and a type of community that felt the same way, but we're not dealing with our feelings in the way he previously had dealt with them, or a way somebody not knowing a way out could help him through, like Michelle. They convicted Michelle Carter off of the phone call that was made when he was trying to commit suicide in the vehicle. He left the car, I believe, twice, or there were 2 phone calls made during his process of committing suicide.
Weakening by carbon monoxide poisoning, Conrad Roy called Michelle. A few months later, after his death, she confessed to a friend that she pursued him to get back in the vehicle.
It's just, I really think this case needs to be set an example for the future and where technology is going. It is kind of all hearsay or all virtual, which is not really real in a sense. So people have been having crazy different opinions about this because she wasn't physically present. And I personally think that because it was such a long relationship that was going on via text message, that she does hold responsibility. And I do want to see her be full action for not preventing someone's death. The girl was on Prozac for a while, which I have never heard of somebody that young being on Prozac. I've heard of moms being on Prozac that go crazy, but going through all those emotions that young, like high school, being on Prozac, then she switched to Celexa, which is just as mentally imbalanced as Prozac, but I do not think that's a rhyme or reason. She knew what she was doing. My biggest view on watching the documentary, the first part goes over his side, and then the second part goes over more of where he was coming from, so it might not have been all her. But the ending conclusion for me alone goes to the conviction itself when the judge gives her sentencing and she starts to cry, and it's like she didn't show any emotion during the whole court case, not at all. Like, she looked like a snob, like they've been saying. I get it, she's a teenager and she's trying to pretend that like she has nothing to do with it. Like, I get that point of view, but when she started crying, when the lawyer kind of patted her on the shoulder, her thinking she might get out alive or might get out innocent, and her crying over that just completely proved everything that the case was trying to get at. Like, she was only thinking about herself. She was so excited when they said, when she thought that she was going to get out free, the kid's dead. And we all know the text messages. We all know the whole entire story. She showed no remorse during any of the verdict. Seems like she was lost, seems like he was lost. There are mental, emotional properties that play into this court case. But I, bottom line, believe it needs to be set an example. And now they're all over newspapers, all over TV, all over HBO. Please check it out if you haven't already. The trailer is posted in my bio. I hope I got my point across, but I just think this is cynical as far as transforming technology. And we need to make sure there are rules, regulations, and boundaries when it comes to this day and age. Please watch the documentary and give me your opinion, but maybe she'll make some friends in jail. Maybe she'll meet the people she was seeking on the outside, not being locked up. Everything happens for a reason, but I think there definitely needs to be a principle played into this predicament. So thank you so much for watching. I'm going to be commenting on GrlBossTown's podcast. GrlBossTown's podcast. GrlBossTown's podcast. Seriously though, check it out if you haven't. It's phenomenal. Check her out in Cosmo. It's the August issue. Love you.